You know, when most people first start martial arts, after the warm-up, the first technique that most people teach them is the basic Chudan Zuki, the basic front punch from a static position. It sounds very basic, and yet do you know there's probably more than 15 little pointers or nuances in that humble technique. So I'm going to go through them one at a time to point them out. Okay, so the first one would be the tachikata, the stance. It's done from a heikodachi. Now you get to heikodachi by musubidachi, feet into a V, bring the heels out, and this should be approximately your shoulder width apart. The insides of the feet are straight, not the outside. Can you see how the feet are shaped? They slightly go out on an angle. So if I had those straight, the toes would be slightly in. So it's the inside of the foot that you want to be straight. The second point is that we grip the floor from the big toe out. This way you get more surface area to grip the floor. Can you imagine my big toe being my thumb? Now if I grip with the little finger first, look how my hand curls up. So if I grip my toes with the little toe first, the inside here leaves the floor, and then I've got no grip on the floor. So the other way, if the thumb is the big toe, I put that down and I grip out with the other toes. So second pointer is to grip the floor properly from heikodachi. Now this is all for posture. There's two categories really which these pointers come under, and one is posture and one is punch. So we're doing the posture first. Going up the body, we bend the knees. You've got to have a little bit of spring in the knees to get the punch properly. If you've got straight legs, you're off balance and it's very rigid. So you've got to bend the knees slightly. Number 3. Number 4, let's go further up the body. We roll the stomach. Okay, you can see here on Dwayne that if he rolls his stomach, the back goes straight. If he has a loose stomach, the back is in an S position like this. If I roll the stomach, the back goes straight. So that's the next pointer. You roll up the stomach. We're going further up the body. We come to the shoulders. The shoulders want to be slightly down. Okay? Feel like somebody's putting their hands on your shoulders and you're pushing down. I'm kind of hunkering down onto my laterals. Going further up the body, I push my chin back, because at the back of the head, if your chin is out, the back of the head is not straight. It's round in a circle, half a circle here. If he pushes his chin back, it becomes a little bit straighter. You don't want to push it too far back. Okay, that's uncomfortable. But just slightly have the chin back. I feel I'm looking through my eyebrows, but not like this. So the chin doesn't want to be out here. If the chin's out here, you're weak here, and also you're just waiting for somebody to hit you under the chin. Okay, most beginners do this, they don't even think about it yet. So push your chin slightly in. Okay, so next point is to not be on top dead center. Top dead center is when your weight is right at the top of the circle. Okay, now if Dwayne just puts his hand out in a fist, he's got his hand maybe back to his side like this, and he's on top dead center. He's got everything else postured up like we've just talked about, but he's on top dead center. Really keep this arm tight. Look what happens. I can push him back because he's lazily cruising around top dead center. It means his toes are not tight. So because he's leant forward, his toes now go tight. And that's probably 1.5 degrees over top dead center. Now look at the difference. Look at the difference there. I can push him over eventually, but that's being delivered behind this punch. As opposed to if he's on top dead center, now punch me on top dead center. Punch me hard. just beyond top dead center. Okay. Yosh, not overly being pushed back. Again, punch me, resist. No, you're not going to go that far. Come on, do the right thing. Punch, yosh. That happens. Now he's over top dead center. He's going to be over top dead center. Now punch me. Yosh. Again, I'll take it, but I'll yosh. Oh, yosh. You can see the difference. It puts a lot of power in being over top dead center. Okay, so that's the posture. We've got the posture, leaning over 1.5 degrees, toes gripping the floor. Now we're going to the punch. So you bring your hands back to your side. And straight away, what people do is have their elbows out like this. Well, first of all, before we get to the elbows, we'll start at the hand. A proper fist. Okay, how you make a proper fist is to bend the fingers right so the fingertips are on the pad of your hand. Okay, now roll it in. So your fingers become on the pad. You roll it in and you put your thumb over 2 fingers. Now that's like a key. It stays there and it won't let this fist come out. Your thumb is not straight. If you've got a thumb straight like that but tight, what can happen is this will get caught at some time. This happened to me 6 months into karate as a beginner. I broke my thumb, so I learned a very valuable lesson. Keep that thumb bent. If the thumb's bent, it's not going to get caught. If the thumb's straight but tight, there's a chance and it will go back and break the thumb. So that's how you make a nice fist. You roll it up, keep it tight and forget about it. Always keep it tight up. So that's the first thing. We bring the hands back and we've made the punch. So we're going up to the wrist. Most people, when they make a nice punch, they don't realise it, but they've got a little arch in the back of the wrist here. If I just pull it a 1/4 centimetre forward, it brings the front of my wrist tight, but it makes the back straight. So as I've made a fist, I put them back and I'll over exaggerate it, I pull slightly up just to keep the back of the fist straight. Okay, next thing is, and I've deliberately left them out, are my elbows. You can see my elbows, can't you? Well, you shouldn't be able to. They should be back like this. At first, it feels a little bit tight, but you get used to it over many, many years. You'll feel it's second nature. And that's so that your hand can be delivered in a straight line. If your elbows are out, you can see I'm going to be punching this way, like this, because the elbows are already out. So I'm punching in. Get the elbows behind. I can feel them rub on my side. And that's what you want to feel as you give a punch out. Okay? So spring load them slightly on to your side, like this. Now when you've got all the posture right, you're going to deliver this punch. The focus wants to be on the fist going out. This is where the focus is, only on that place. And I push it out straight to the middle. This is another pointer. Don't punch in 2 places. We punch straight to the middle. And the next punch is going to be the same place. Now, once the arm is out, I have to share the focus. The focus now has to be on the elbow coming back, driving backwards, and the hand going forward. So just showing you the elbow here with focus. See how strong it is backwards? It's like I'm elbowing somebody, hitting with the elbow behind. So half my focus is here and half is on the fist going out. Don't have it on both the hands. If you do, this is what will happen. The focus on the retreating hand, because it's into the hand, will do a loop on itself. Because you've put the focus here, so that's the first thing to move. And that's what will happen. if I put it on the elbow, it'll pull that arm back in a straight line. So that's why we put the focus 50-50, one on the hand going out and one on the elbow coming back. That's another point. Okay, another point is to go 1 inch for 1 inch. If there's 1 inch retraction, there's 1 inch going out. Same time, and it stops together. That's important. I've seen people do this in the Q grades. They get to be black belt, they get a little bit sloppy, and they'll do this one. Can you see how I'm bringing this hand back maybe 1 inch? Still a strong punch, but they're not timed anymore. You've got to be timed at the right time together. Yosh, try and keep that in synchronicity. Okay, the next thing is to breathe out. You can try this, why it's important, by breathing in and punching. Okay, just breathe in and punch. Just breathe in, way, go in, push. Do you find that stronger or weaker?
Very weak.
It's weak, isn't it? So you should always breathe out. You should always breathe out. Another point is when we're doing this, twist at the end, the last 2 inches, make force twist it. A lot of people will just let it twist. They'll just do this. Okay, they just let it float into there. What you've got to feel is, if you've ever screwed anything in with a screwdriver, that's the feeling you've got to feel. You twist it in, twist it in, twist it in, twist it in, twist it in. Okay, another point is that the focus is on the hand going out, but the headquarters, if you like, the powerhouse is in the shoulder. The forces come up your leg into the hip. Remember, this is all tightened up, so it can go through to the shoulders, and it's the shoulder that throws this punch out. This is the missile, if you like. This is the powerhouse. Don't let the fist have the focus and be the powerhouse. When beginners come into martial arts, they'll punch like this, as you know. And that's when the powerhouse and the focus is in the fist. Okay, later you realise you focus on the fist, but the powerhouse is in the shoulder. Let it go in the shoulder. Lots of things to think about. Another one is to ki on the 10th. Ki is the spiritual shout. And this should be exercised. It's a technique like everything else. So on the 10th one, always do a good, strong ki. Now, I'd say there's about 15 points just in that humble, basic Chudan Zuki. You can, in the end, we're trying to make your mentalism flow through your body and check every one of those. It's a big thing, it takes years. And I don't know if we ever accomplish it properly. You'll feel it a lot better, but I don't know if we ever get it completely. But a good way as an exercise to try and be aware of all these is to take one of those pointers out and for 10 punches, practice it. You know, people say, they'll come into a dojo and we say, right, we're going to do 200 punches. Oh, this is boring. Basics are boring. They're not aware of all these points and they're just half-heartedly doing this and thinking, gee, I can't wait for it to finish and we go on to something more interesting. Repetition makes a strong martial artist, and repetition is not boring. It's the martial artist who's boring if he can't find a way to find a little gem in that exercise. And this is the way to do it. You've got 15 or more pointers that I've just told you. Now, if you focus on one of those pointers for 10 punches, you could do 150, 160 punches, and not be bored because you've only focused on one thing more so than the others for 10 punches. So when I'm teaching a class and I'm going to make them do 200 or 300 punches, that's what I do. I make them aware of all these pointers, which I should do as a good teacher. And then I'll say, for example, I'll show you with Dwayne. For the first 10 punches, Dwayne, I want you to focus on being 1.5 degrees over top dead center. So he's going to focus on that a little bit more than the other points. Ish, ni, san, shi, go, rock, sit, hatch, ku, I want you to focus on your knees being slightly bent. Ish, ni, san, shi, go, rock, sit, hatch, ku, I could go systematically up the body. I'm not going to show you 150 punches tonight, just probably 50. I could pick something out. I can say, keeping your elbow slightly pushed back. I want you to focus on that this time. Ish, nei, san, chai, go, ka, chai, chai, ku, ku, This time, I want you to think about pulling the elbow back and delivering the punch, splitting your focus. Ish, ai, san, chai, go, rock, sit, hatch, ku, Next 10, forcing the twist in. Sometimes you can go even a little bit further because you're exaggerating it to get that twist. Okay, ish, ai, san, chai, go, ka, chai, chai, ku, The last one, focus on your ki-ai. So he's gonna ki-ai for 10 times. Ki-ai is just as important as everything else. So, that's 15 technical tips for the basic front punch. There are 17, and I've saved the last two, which I think is a little bit more important. They're all important, but these two are more important to make all the others work. Okay, and the first one is the position of the fists. Now, I see some karateka, they'll stand ready to do drilling, and the fists are in line with the stomach. This shortens the length of the fist travel. If you can get your hand, your fist, further back than the stomach line, not too far back, else the shoulder starts rising. So once you feel the shoulder getting uncomfortable, which is about there, look, there's my stomach level, that's where my hand is. Now you've got 2 or 3 inches extra in your fist travel. Look at the power I can get just at this end. Okay, so it's not put on at that end, it's put on at the other end. Your fist accelerates from 0 from here, and by the time you've added 3 inches onto the end, it's exponentially got faster. Okay, so that's very important. Don't have your hands resting on stomach level and do this punch. Get your hands further back, not too far back, else the shoulder gets tight. Remember, your shoulders are locked down, and let it travel right from here. Now, the most important, and that's the lock-in. To lock in. I feel it's like an electrical charge has gone through my body. All my muscles have voluntarily locked in. Without that, you can have your elbows back, you can have your chin down, knees bent, all the other technical tips. But if you're just punching with no lock-in, that's lock-in, that's no lock-in, you're going to hurt your joints, you're not going to have power at the end of the day. Now, Master Choju Miyagi, I hear a rumour from Yoyogi Dojo when I used to train there. He said, if ever you're hitting a strong thing or a weak thing, for example, if I'm hitting a piece of wood or a mosquito net, they should be locked in the same. Now, when you hit something strong, your muscles have to involuntarily lock in because it's not going to give way like a makiwara. Now, if I punch into thin air like you do when you're drilling, I have to voluntarily lock in like I've hit something hard. I teach my students like this. If I push on Dwayne's fist, now all his muscles are making him involuntarily do it. He has to do it. He has no option. And what he's feeling is his stomach's tight, he's having to grip the floor, his shoulders are slightly tight, he feels all the lock-in. Now, if I take my hand away, he has to feel that without me pushing on him. Okay, now he's voluntarily locked in all his muscles. He's having to feel that as it is without me being there. So this is how he should feel. And that's how he should feel at the end of every punch. You relax to move through. Don't relax your fist, keep that tight, but relax the arm and then involuntary, voluntary tighten them as you twist your hand. Everything's tight. Everything's tight. Now without that, the others mean nothing. So that's 17 technical tips about the front punch. Train hard. Us.